A brazenly entitled Karen trespassed onto my property, arrogantly demanding access for her entitled child to swim in my private pool. Even after repeatedly informing them of the need to vacate my property, this audacious lady persisted. Here's what unfolded, providing some backstory and context. I reside right next to a serene lake, a coveted location allowing me to saunter from my backyard directly onto the tranquil beach. I adore swimming, but when the late fall and early spring chill sets in, the lake's waters become absolutely frigid. Occasionally, unsuspecting folks venture to the lake on warm days, thinking they'll enjoy a refreshing swim, only to plunge in and realize the water remains bone-chilling. So, during the colder season, I decided to acquire a compact heated pool for my backyard. I've owned this pool for about 2 years before the fateful incident occurred. One early spring day, with the water temperature at a bone-chilling level, I had just taken a dip in my pool when I had to rush indoors for a restroom break. My intention was to return promptly, so I left the pool uncovered. However, while inside, my phone rang, and it was my brother urgently requesting information from my computer. I became engrossed in helping him for approximately 30 minutes before finally heading back outside. And that's when I encountered this entitled Karen and her pampered child. Karen had arrogantly settled into my lawn chair. Meanwhile, my hat and sunscreen, the previous occupants of the chair, now lay haphazardly on the ground. The spoiled child was already frolicking in my pool. My thoughts hadn't yet fully grasped why they were in my pool, so I inquired, excuse me, why are you on my property? The entitled Karen glanced up and asked, "Oh, is this your property?" Stunned by such a ludicrous question, I replied, "Yes, this is my property." "Why are you here?" The Karen then condescendingly addressed me, as if explaining to a child. She said, "You see, my son wanted to go for a swim, but the lake was a bit too cold, isn't that right?" My patience, which is usually quite extensive, was rapidly dwindling, and her condescending tone further shortened my fuse. In my mind, I told her coldly, "The lake's cold, but that doesn't justify your presence on my property using my pool." The Karen was not pleased with my response and retorted, "You do not have to be so rude. I'm just trying to make my kid happy." Throughout this exchange, her child continued to splash about in my pool, utterly indifferent to our conversation. I responded, "I'm sorry, but I don't allow strangers to use my property." Then, I turned to the child and instructed, "You need to get out of the pool, buddy." Perhaps addressing the child was a misstep because immediately after, the Karen stormed up to me and unleashed a tirade. She exclaimed, "How dare you speak to my child like that? He has feelings too. He deserves to be in that pool. Besides, forcing him out of the pool could lead to hypothermia. Do you want that? Do you want my kid to suffer from hypothermia?" At this point, I had no idea what I had said to trigger this explosive reaction. I turned back to her and, in a composed yet resolute tone, stated, "Look, regardless of how cold the lake is, it's a warm day. After swimming in this pool, there's no way he could still get cold. Furthermore, he has no right to be in this pool. This is my property, and both you and your son need to leave before I call the police." To be completely honest, I've never witnessed an argument escalate so rapidly. Now, I find myself ensnared in a situation that I can scarcely believe. I have never encountered this Karen or her entitled child since that incident. Nonetheless, I've been concerned about a potential recurrence, so I've installed security cameras around my property as a precaution. It's baffling to contemplate how someone could act with such entitlement, believing they have some bizarre privilege over another's personal property. Can you fathom the legal ramifications if that child had been injured while swimming in my pool? That lady would have almost certainly pursued legal action. If I were in your shoes, I would not have allowed such a person access to my property or pool. You did the right thing by threatening to involve law enforcement. This lady trespassed on your property and attempted to impose her will upon you. What an inconsiderate parent. The fact that you subsequently installed security cameras around your home is a prudent step. Hopefully, this individual never returns, and such incidents remain a thing of the past. It's your pool and your property. You should not have to acquiesce to the demands of an entitled individual. Everyone I confide in about my engagement unleashes a barrage of terrible, negative remarks, and I find myself utterly perplexed. I am betrothed to my beloved, and ever since we exchanged engagement vows, I've been subjected to a chorus of naysayers. They assert that I'm far too young to embark on this matrimonial journey, that our courtship hasn't endured the requisite duration, or that there's no point in us pursuing marriage. One particularly brazen colleague went as far as to jestingly inquire when I'd be announcing my divorce. One recent incident exemplified these derogatory comments. During a visit to the nail salon, my nail technician inquired about my engagement ring. Upon my explanation, she expressed excitement about painting my nails for the wedding. However, an older lady, who had been eavesdropping, seized the opportunity to interject. She chuckled and declared that I was far too young to get married. I tried to deflect her comment with humor, saying, "Oh, thanks for letting me know my eye cream is working," but her intrusion cast a shadow over our conversation and dampened my elation. Now, I no longer enthusiastically share news of our engagement, as I've come to realize that most people are apathetic, and I'm reluctant to thrust my personal life upon them. Nonetheless, should it arise in conversation, I'm more than willing to discuss our plans. What astounds me is the embittered reactions I encounter. While I don't anticipate jubilant celebrations, I certainly don't expect to be met with scornful laughter and prophesies of doom. While I am impervious to the opinions of others regarding my relationship, as my beloved and I are deeply in love and wholly committed to each other, it remains disheartening when people respond with condescension and ridicule. I believe that I shouldn't have to conceal my engagement to appease others. Has anyone else experienced such a situation? How did you respond to impolite comments when announcing your engagement? What course of action should I pursue? It's truly astonishing how judgmental some people can be towards those entering into matrimony. It's both unhelpful and toxic to offer baseless opinions about the longevity of a relationship. While our marriage may indeed be transpiring rather swiftly, I have faith that it doesn't necessitate verbalizing such doubts. This marriage does not concern them in any way, and their comments are unwarranted. Ideally, one might expect at least a courteous "congratulations," instead of nosing into someone's affairs and predicting the failure of their union. Such behavior is strange and offensive, especially when concealed behind a facade of concern. It's essential to recognize that these individuals don't define the future of your marriage. In your situation, I understand you may be beset by mixed feelings. While I agree that your marriage might be proceeding at a rapid pace, I don't believe it precludes the potential for a successful union. If you and your fiancé are deeply in love, then the opinions of others should carry little weight. If close friends and family persist in expressing negativity, you may want to reconsider including them in your wedding plans. Individuals who suggest they'll be awaiting news of your divorce don't seem particularly supportive. Ultimately, your nuptials should be a celebration of your love, and you deserve to be surrounded by people who share in your happiness. Ignore the pessimists and focus on your relationship with your partner. My parents unabashedly bestow their favor upon my brother, and I'm grappling with it. I'm a 23-year-old man ensnared in a perplexing quandary for which I'm bereft of solutions. Throughout my existence, I've perceived an unequivocal partiality toward my younger sibling, who lags behind me by 3 years in age. His allure seems to garner effusive compliments, granting him most of his desires, a privilege I've scarcely aspired to, let alone seen realized. Financial leniency takes the form of my parents yielding to his entreaties. On 8 occasions out of 10, they accede, often going above and beyond his supplications. One poignant episode etched in my memory involves a Christmas when he received money as gifts and used it to purchase an iPad, an endeavor that I was firmly forbidden to undertake. A mere few months earlier, they had extended him a loan for a car, while my entreaties for financial aid were resolutely rebuffed. An allowance, concurrently bestowed upon both of us despite his age advantage, was another grievance. To compound my discontent, when my earnings augmented, his experienced a corresponding increase, despite our disparate ages and associated responsibilities. But that's not the heart of my chagrin. What truly riles me is the discriminatory treatment within my father's chosen vocation. Initially, he ardently exhorted me to follow in his footsteps and pursue his profession. However, once I committed to the decision, the terrain shifted. Barriers emerged, deliberately placed, making my entry arduous. My brother, in stark contrast, harboring no ambition for the field, was admitted with an almost casual ease, all for the prospect of a modicum of additional cash. One might initially believe the circumstances to be equitable up to this point, yet herein lies the source of my righteous ire. The onset of my tenure was marked by debilitating our restrictions, and I found myself groveling to my father for expanded responsibilities. A prior job offer outside my chosen vocation was declined, despite my unwavering dedication to the profession. In a curious turn of events, my brother, an intruder of the field for less than a month, effortlessly secured increased hours merely by voicing his desire, while I had endured months of futile supplication. Confronting my father led to his unconvincing assertion that the blame rested with my alleged failure to articulate my wishes. His assertions clashed with the irrefutable evidence of my multiple entreaties and beseechments, starkly contradicting his convenient narrative. This enduring saga of mine spans 2 decades, each year adding another layer of bitterness to the bitter cup of favoritism. Every slight preference accorded to my sibling, while I face the relentless cold shoulder of parental neglect, pierces me like a dagger plunged into my chest. Now, as a fully-fledged adult, I find myself at the precipice, teetering on the edge of surrender to a situation that I can no longer bear. The time has come for me to forge my own path, but how? What steps should I take to reclaim my life and destiny? The quagmire runs deep, and it's clear to me that your father is more than just a passive bystander. He actively undermines your career and ambitions. There's an inexplicable vendetta or perhaps a dark shroud of jealousy casting a pall over his rational judgment. Rather than nurturing your growth and grooming you to succeed him in the family profession, he subjects you to this cruel ordeal. It defies reason. The disparity in treatment becomes painfully evident when your brother is showered with opportunities, given additional hours, and granted financial privileges for a profession he's not even interested in pursuing. It's a confounding favoritism that's actively stunting your progress. They've laid a red carpet for him, while you've navigated an obstacle course with a noose of professional stagnation. Part-time work has its merits, particularly for students or during transitional periods. However, this situation transcends logic, as your father appears dead set on impeding your ascent. His actions boggle the mind, and it's high time to break free from these familial chains. Leaving your father's wing and seeking your fortunes elsewhere might be the most arduous but necessary step. This is an unequivocal endorsement of your capabilities and potential. It's an escape from the shadow of favoritism that casts a long pall over your familial bonds. Their bias and neglect have no place in a flourishing career. Perseverance is an option, a path strewn with obstacles and mired in discomfort, but one that eventually yields rewards. It's a challenging journey, but your unwavering commitment to your profession and a promising future should never be compromised for the sake of your family's unfounded prejudices. These familial hardships have fanned the flames of your determination, not extinguished them. Your path to success and fulfillment may lead you away from your family, and it's a path you must take, even if it's painful. Your father's irrational behavior should not hold your aspirations hostage any longer. The magnitude of this unfairness has sown seeds of resentment that run deep. It's hard to fathom how they can carry on with the knowledge that you're consumed by unhappiness. You've tried to voice your grievances, but they remain deaf to your suffering. Your family support system is conspicuously absent, and it's time to set your sights on new horizons. The emotional intelligence of your parents seems woefully inadequate to address this ongoing turmoil. Their failure to recognize your potential and dedication is a testament to their limitations in understanding human emotions. To endure such years of neglect is a testament to your fortitude and determination. The future beckons, and your path forward is clear. Break free from the shackles of favoritism, and reclaim your destiny with the unyielding spirit that has carried you thus far. You've earned this right, and the journey may be difficult, but the destination promises the freedom to soar to new heights. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications to finish listening to all the stories. Use the playlist at the top of the description.